Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at the AEOP Apprenticeships and Fellowships webinar series. For those of you joining us live, we are experiencing some technical difficulties outside of our control. Our session got transitioned from a webinar format into a Zoom format. So we're navigating that and the entry point for some of our speakers. So Heather Storty is trying to make things happen in the background. So shout out and good thoughts for Heather. So while Heather is working on that, I am going to dive into the first portion of our series for today, and that is to talk about our next step opportunities for you in AEOP. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen for a second with this. All right, so right now you should see a yellow what's next document, and this is about to be put into the chat for you. On this, you'll see at the top the Junior Science Humanities Symposium. So we've spoken about JSHS before. JSHS is a high school student STEM competition where you can submit your research to win scholarships at the regional and national level. I really want you to know about this because you can submit your research from this summer to JSHS and win thousands and thousands of dollars in scholarships at both the regional and the national level. This is also another opportunity for you to list your STEM research on your resume as you apply for college. So participating in things like JSHS are great for college applications. It's the way to take your research experience to the next level. So we are going to be offering some support services on how to take your research from this summer and turn it into a JSHS project. So I hope that you'll look out for those and take advantage of them. There are JSHS regional competitions in all 50 states, as well as a virtual competition for those who are unable to attend in person if it's too far for you to travel for a regional event. You submit a written paper based on your research, and it depends on the region, how many submissions they get, how many are selected to come and participate in person and provide an oral presentation. Sometimes these research sessions also invite students to present posters. So if you submit to one of the research competitions and you want assistance in preparing your oral presentation, we are also happy to help you prepare for those things. So although our webinar series is ending, although your apprenticeship may be coming to an end if you're just a summer apprentice, our office is here to support you in your next steps. So the next thing I want to mention to you is the AEOP. I'm actually going to increase this in size, hoping that you could see it better. So now you see AEOP apprenticeships and fellowships. Now, why did I list that again? Many of you are participating as high school students or even as undergraduate students. Did you know that you can come back again next summer and have a next level internship? You can come back to the AEOP from high school all the way to your postdoc level. So please stay in touch with us, follow us on social media, stay up to date on our website, and keep track of opportunities because they will come up. Our social media is the best way to get the most up-to-date information. So if you don't want to miss something, be following us there. And we're on all the social media platforms. The next thing that I want to mention is the AEOP Alumni Council. So again, I'm going to make sure that this list gets sent out. The Alumni Council applications are due on September 1st, 2023. So if you're looking to take a leadership opportunity in STEM, this is a great place to do it. You're all alumni now. Those of you who have completed or participants in our apprenticeships and fellowships, you're all alumni and you could take part in the Alumni Council. And you'll have students who participate from not just around the country, but we have alumni from around the world who participate in this. And they meet monthly and they host meetups in their region and they volunteer their service in a variety of ways in support of the AEOP. If you were here for our first seminar this summer, we had a representative of the Alumni Council speak to us about his experience with JSHS. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to engage with AEOP on the Alumni Council. Next, I want to mention the AEOP Membership Awards. You can nominate yourself, a friend, your mentor for an award through AEOP membership. So for this, the link is here, and I'm going to put it into the chat. It's also on the AEOP website. Nominations are going to be due on October 1st. So go ahead and nominate your mentor. Let them get recognized for the great work that they've done in support of your research and in support of the AEOP. Anytime that you can get acknowledged for your effort, it's always good, not just for the soul, but also it's good for your transcripts. It's good for your job applications. It's a standout opportunity. So there's a many different categories for the AEOP membership awards. It's not just for mentorship. I believe there's some for community service, rising star, etc. So please come back and take a look at those in the future. Remember, you're all alumni now of the AEOP. Next, I want to mention that you should be looking for other opportunities in DoD STEM. So if you go to the DoD STEM webpage, you can just Google it. I'm going to provide you with a link. You're going to go into participate and then click opportunities. There is a search bar there where you can look for everything that you might be interested in. So just like the Army has apprenticeships, so does the Navy, the Air Force, the Space Force. And there are also not just only general opportunities, but specific opportunities organized by the field you might be interested in. So for example, we run at RIT, I'm also involved with a summer camp that's just for students who are interested in cybersecurity called Gen Cyber, that's offered by the National Security Administration. You can find information about Gen Cyber programs, NSA programs at the DoD STEM website. So please check this out. It's a very, very rich resource. Again, in the AEOP, we're not just looking to recruit you into only Army fields. We want you to try out anything opportunities up there for you. Our goal is to get you into STEM. So the next, I'm going to go to talk to you about the SMART Scholarship and NDSEG. So the SMART Scholarship is something we're going to focus on in the next few minutes. It is for undergraduate, master's, and doctoral students pursuing STEM degrees. They receive full tuition, annual stipends, internships, and guaranteed employment with the DoD after their graduation. So the reason that I'm mentioning this today, and I want to highlight it, is because one of our guests in our panel today, she actually is a current SMART Scholar, and she'll be able to speak to it. But I want you to know, because the application window is currently open. Applications are accepted from August 1st to December 1st. So even if you are not eligible right now for SMART, I would love for you please to pay attention to this application window, because in the future, you may be eligible, you may want to go for it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the NDSEG program. NDSEG is for undergraduate seniors. So you would apply for this within your senior year of undergraduate or within the first 2 years of your graduate study in science or engineering. And there are target disciplines. If you receive NDSEG, you do get a stipend and a full tuition paid, and there is no service requirement afterwards. So the difference between SMART and NDSEG is SMART has a requirement of working for the DoD afterwards. Again, not as an enlisted military person, but as an affiliated civilian. And NDSEG has no requirement. So those are two fantastic opportunities for you. Now, since we do have the audience today, and the window is open for SMART, I want to show you two very quick videos on the SMART program. And this I got just right from, I just went to YouTube and I Googled DoD SMART and these came up. So just give me 1 second here and we'll get those started for you. Okay, so you want to go to smartscholarship.org and you want to do that now. And then they happen to have just posted a video with questions, and it's 2 minutes. So it is application tips and eligibility requirements. So I think that should answer some of the questions that you have right now. about the
now to
SMART
something
program.
new and exciting.
Before you get started on the application, let's go over the requirements to make sure you are eligible to apply to the SMART Scholarship. You must be a U.S. citizen. A few exceptions include citizens of the United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, or Australia. You must be 18 when the program starts. The program start date is typically 1 year after the application opens. You must have at least a 3.0 cumulative GPA on a 4.0 scale. This is a big one. You must be pursuing one of the 24 STEM disciplines. These are umbrella categories, so if your major falls under one of these disciplines, you're good to go. It's important to note that you must be enrolled in a regionally accredited U.S. college or university at the time of application. Graduate students do not need to be enrolled at the time of application, but should be accepted into and enrolled in a regionally accredited U.S. college or university by the program start date. If you are requesting more than 1 year of award funding, meaning you have more than 1 year left of school, you must complete at least one summer internship. The first internship takes place the summer after you begin your award. If you are requesting 1 year of funding, then the internship requirement does not apply. The minimum 1 year requirement means you need to be enrolled in your program for at least one academic year from the program start date. As a reminder, the program starts the academic year following your scholarship application. You must be able to obtain and maintain a security clearance. If you have specific questions, make sure to look into the OPM guidelines on security clearances at opm.gov. Don't have a security clearance? Not an issue. The security clearance is processed by the sponsoring facility if you're offered an award. Have you met all the requirements? Awesome! You're all set. Now it's time to register and start your application. Good luck!
All right, thank you for bearing with us during the excitement we've had with our technical difficulties. And thank you again to Heather Storty, our Assistant Director, who has been troubleshooting, and for our very persistent panelists who utilized the cell phone helpline to make things happen today. So thank you everybody for being here. It is going to be worth your effort because our panelists today are amazing. I cannot wait for you to hear from them. In addition, we will be giving away anybody who asks a question. We will get your information and we will send you a very exciting, I'm holding it up if you can see it. This is a handy pocket scientist, an AEOP pocket scientist that has formulas and measurement tools. We will send this to you in the mail. So what we do is we grab your email address from the logins and we email you and we get your mailing address and we'll send that to you in the mail. So you came the right day. It's an amazing flash giveaway of all sorts of AEOP swag. So please also note that if you go to the chat, Miranda, who's one of our outreach specialists, she just posted the list of resources that I shared with you. So high school students, pay attention to JSHS. Undergraduates and graduates, pay attention to SMART and NDSEG. And in addition, everybody should pay attention to the membership opportunities through the AEOP to engage with the Alumni Council, as well as nominate folks for awards. And if you want to look outside the AEOP, I highly recommend you look at the DoD STEM webpage. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to turn things over and I want to introduce our panelists today. So we have 3 panelists joining us. This is a STEM careers panelist that focuses on near-peer mentors. And all the years that we have had these webinars, our near-peer mentor panels have been the most popular with participants. And the reason why is because the near-peers have been in your shoes. So today we have 3 speakers. We have Katie, who is a current post-baccalaureate student at Harvard in applied physics. She went to Cornell and studied electrical and computer engineering, applied and engineering physics, and perhaps most importantly, Miss Katie has been an involved with the AEOP apprenticeships for several years. She herself was an apprentice at the University of Southern California, USC, as an undergraduate in 2019. In 2020, she was a near-peer mentor when we went virtual and worked with students. Then in 2021, another virtual year for us, she really was the leader of our Summer Research Foundations program. So Katie is an AEOP superstar, Katie Barajas, and if you Google her with AEOP, you will see a blog post all about Katie on the AEOP website. Next, I want to introduce Anastasia Newman. Anna is a PhD candidate in chemical and biomedical engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. She earned her bachelor's of science degree in chemical biological engineering at MIT. And she, most important, she was a AEOP high school apprentice in 2013 at the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Chemical Defense, or USAMRICD. And then last but not least, Julia O'Gorman. She is currently a SMART Scholar. You may recall that she said hello in our first webinar of this summer. She's at Robins Air Force Base. She is also an undergraduate, currently a third-year undergraduate in mechanical engineering at RIT. And most important, she was an AEOP apprentice in high school in 2019, and that was the first year we went virtual. So I believe that her near-peer mentor was Katie at that time. And then she herself became a near-peer mentor in 2020 and 2021. So it is my pleasure to introduce our three panelists, and I'm going to start by letting you each talk a little bit about yourselves. So Heather, since you're driving, how will this work?
Everyone should see them spotlighted on their screen, so I can spotlight whoever's talking as we go.
Katie, are you there? Are you prepared to?
Yeah, I can start. I also have some cute little slides.
Awesome.
I can share those as well. But let's see.
It's so great to see you.
Yeah, it's so great to see you too. It's been a long time.
Yes.
All right, let me put this in presenter mode.
And thank you, speakers, for your flexibility with our chaos today. But that is life. That is science.
You just have to go with the flow sometimes. Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you again. So hey everyone, I'm Katie. I am a postbac at Harvard, and I wanted to give like a quick intro about myself and also my journey as to like where I got to where I am today, and the journey that'll still keep going as I apply for PhD programs this year. So we'll see where I end up. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about my like long-winded journey into quantum computing. Started out doing more photonics research or studying light matter interactions through AEOP with an application to medical sensing. And now I'm not doing anything like that at all, only still playing around with light. So that's the one thing that stayed in common, but AEOP sparked a passion in me and really helped me like fulfill all of my dreams in STEM thus far. And so this is how it started. I guess like way of joining the STEM life was I did a research program in high school at UCLA, and that actually caused me to really want to study engineering. Before that, I didn't even think I could, one, get into college, or two, like even think about studying engineering in college. But that really like sparked my interest and like made me say, okay, I think I want to go and join engineering. I worked on a little research project. I have the picture over here. Basically, it's a way that you can actually use light to detect the concentration of proteins in like a very portable way. So that was like my first exposure to STEM, and I really didn't know anything about it. I was so confused this entire summer, but I was just so excited to be in a lab and like try to learn as much as I possibly could. And I got some pretty cool data and had made this really pretty poster, and it was a lot of fun. I also loved just like going hiking and exploring LA, where I'm from. And so what did I end up doing next? Okay, so I then was accepted to Cornell University, where I did my undergraduate degree, and I explored a lot. I was really, really confused in terms of what I wanted to study, but that's okay, because like you don't have to know exactly what you want to do going into college. Like I didn't even know what it meant to be an engineer. Some days I'm still like, like what am I doing right now? But I think I used college as an opportunity to just explore every ounce of science that I possibly could, every corner, every major. And I ended up doing 5 years of undergrad. So that's where I started out as an electrical engineering student, where I'll just play some videos. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad. Some of these videos might be a little loud, so fair warning. where like in this major, I was able to design like robots like this that kind of inspired the work that I did with AEOP and the Near Peer Mentor Summer Research Foundations program. And so that major really gave me a chance to explore some hands-on engineering work. And also through that lens, I was able to explore mechanical engineering. So here we got together as a group of students and built a car, and that was just so much fun. And I was able to learn how to design small electronics, like if you can see my cursor here, small electronics to test this car. So this video might be a little bit loud, but it's basically a way to measure the, so each little spike is that engine like firing, and then we're able to determine how fast our car is moving and connect that wirelessly to some electronics elsewhere so that we can just have remote access to that information. I also explored a lot of research opportunities. So going along the same vein of using light to study biological systems, I did a lot of work in the field of biomedical engineering and used that as a way to just like fulfill what I wanted to learn in research and like see what it's like to be a scientist, to work in a lab every day. And my favorite thing ever was more of a transition into becoming less of a like hard science person, meaning like focusing on what it means to study certain systems in cells, and more so of like an engineer. So I did an AEOP apprenticeship at USC where I helped rebuild this setup that allowed you to measure the mechanical properties of whole tissue. So like you can take a slab of tissue, a slab of say like a piece of salmon, and measure like how squishy that piece of salmon is. And you can do that also with human tissue as well, which is the idea for long-term medical applications. But have some nice pictures of me just tinkering in the lab and just enjoying all my time there. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna skip this. All right. And now, what do I do now? Now I work in the field of quantum optics, where I play a lot with light. I do some nanofabrication. So I design and like carve out pieces of diamond that allow you to interact with light in really crazy ways. And I love to just like go hiking and go kayaking and explore the greater Boston area. And it's just a lot of fun doing science on the day to day. But yeah, that's a quick overview of everything that I've done and what I want to like, things that I've done now. And yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Katie. And everybody, we're going to get to questions after we go through all three introductions, but save them. These are three inspiring, amazing people who will speak truth to you about your pathway. So don't hesitate to ask. So let's now go to Anna.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna. I don't have any slides. And
That's
I also
okay.
realized my background is somehow backwards.
No, it's not. It looks good to us. It looks good to us. You're perfect.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
okay,
you're perfect.
Good. First off, I just want to say, Katie, we have some very good quantum computing labs at Penn, if you ever want to come here for your PhD. Yeah, so like I was introduced, I am currently at Penn. I went to MIT for undergrad, and I sound so old when I say that I did my AEOP apprenticeship in 2013. Feels crazy to me. It does not feel like 10 years ago. But just like Katie, that AEOP internship completely changed my life. Like, I didn't think I was going to go to college. Not because like college wasn't interesting to me, but because no one in my family had gone, and college is really expensive. And my mentor was like, Anna, you're so good at this science. You really like it. Apply. I think a lot of these big life steps can be really intimidating. And it's easy to tell yourself that you're not good enough, right? Like you're not smart enough, or you're just like not like the other people who do those things. And I had a lot of people tell me that I was wrong, that like I am good enough. And so hopefully you guys, I want you all to know you're good enough, right? Like if you want to do something, you should do it. And there's no such thing as like the perfect person to take a step. But I took a year off between undergrad and grad school. I worked in the biotech industry, and it was my manager there who was like, Anna, you really like this. I think you should go to grad school. So I've been really, really lucky to have so many good mentors who have kind of like pushed me over the hump every time I got stuck. And I try to be that for others. And I think everyone should really try to do that anytime they can. Like we should all be lifting each other up in science. It's a hard career, but it can be really fun and rewarding. Yeah, now I'm in my fifth year of my PhD. I'll probably be applying for faculty, so like college professor jobs in a year, which is crazy. Yeah, and I want to, right now, what I do in my PhD, I code. My mentee is actually in this meeting. What we worked on for our AEOP project is we simulated this nanoporous gold structure, and we simulate polymers, which are these like long noodle-like chain molecules. And you can simulate them rising up through capillary rise, the same way that water rises up a paper towel. And you can study the speed and how changing different properties of the system change how fast it rises. And it's actually really applicable for a lot of, kind of tying it back to my old research, a lot of medical devices. If you think about even the COVID tests that you can buy like at CVS, the way those work is that it's through capillary rise, right? Like you put the tube up your nose, right? And you put it on there. Inside that is proteins, right? And those proteins are actually polymers, and those rise through, sort of like diffuse through your little test thing. And that speed that it moves has to be a certain speed, or else the reaction can't occur, right? So by studying how different properties can change how fast that capillary rise occurs, we can make a lot of cool things out of it. So it's been a really cool project. I loved having a mentee this summer. She was wonderful. Yeah, and that's kind of up to current date what I'm working on. So yeah, and I'd be happy to take any questions kind of once we go through everyone.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Anna. And you made me feel old because I graduated MIT in 97. So that was a very, very long, like in the 90s. Can you imagine that? Before PowerPoint, before cell phones, before all of those things?
I think about that all the time. Like, how were people scientists without Google? Like,
yeah.
I don't get it.
How is that? How did that happen? It really did happen. Fun fact, one time I was working at my dorm and I opened the door and George Takei was standing there. So I have a little Star Trek history for you, but we'll put that in your pocket right now. If you know who that is, shout out to you. Great job. So remember to please put your questions into the chat. You could put them in now and we will get to them. So please put them in there as we go. So thank you very much, Anna. Next, I'm going to introduce Julia. This is Julia O'Gorman.
Alrighty. So as Ms. Donna has introduced me, I am currently at Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins, Georgia. I'm in a little conference room. You can't tell because I have a purple background, but today we had a staff meeting. It was really interesting. But so I guess my sort of STEM journey, my AEOP, my DOD, my all of those acronyms, there's a lot of acronyms in government work. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of acronyms. All of those acronyms started the spring of 2020. It's really funny. I applied to be an AEOP apprentice for the summer, February of 2020. And then like the next week, everything shut down. It's really great. And so we were really on the fence about like, what's gonna happen? Like, am I just not gonna have an internship? Am I just gonna have to find something else to do for the summer? At that point in time, I was really on the fence on whether or not I wanted to be in a STEM career, or if I wanted to do engineering, if I wanted to do STEM, if I wanted to do some more sort of like hard science, or if I just wanted to nix the whole thing and go some other direction. So it was really important to me for that summer to really get experience with some type of STEM. I didn't really know if I wanted lab science, if I wanted engineering. So to me, the best thing that could have happened kind of did, because I wasn't just in a laboratory. I was in one of these webinar series things where I was exposed to all the different ways different degrees can be applied. Because I'd always thought, so I'm currently a mechanical engineering major. I always thought mechanical engineering was like cars, planes, rocket ships. Are all those things cool? Yes, but I don't necessarily want to do that every single day of my day. Like every single day. I'm cool with other people doing that, not so much me. But I learned through one of our webinars that you can do whatever you want with mechanical engineering. Really, with any STEM degree, you can do whatever you want, because these STEM degrees teach you how to be a professional problem solver. So you can take this information, this problem statement, and then take it and find an answer or a solution or a person who would know the answer or some sort of step that will get you further along in that journey. And so that summer, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot about a whole lot of other people. I met a whole bunch of people. I met Ms. Donna, I met Katie, I met a whole lot of other people who really have had an impact on my experience. Katie was my near-peer mentor my first summer, and it was because of her and our other near-peer mentor, Stephen, that I knew how to write a lab report. That was really useful. I didn't know how to do that, but now I can write a solid lab report. And so I know y'all are doing stuff in labs, but just like those beginning steps that were given to me really helped me decide like, yeah, okay, I do want STEM and I did want engineering, because I was like, I don't know if I want to, engineering just seemed more interesting to me. But yeah, but it didn't just end with that summer. The next summer, I was invited to be a near peer mentor because I left my camera on the whole time. If you're in a webinar series and you're allowed to be like with your camera on, I suggest that because that can get you noticed, especially if you're the only one. So that's my biggest tip, is to always have your camera on as much as you can stand it, as much as you can have it on. It helps. It helps make you stand out and opportunities will find you if you put yourself out there. And so I've continued to work towards like just with the DoD and the SMART program, like through it all. And now I've landed myself in the SMART program, kind of like the AEOP pipeline. We start in high school and then we go through, sort of introduce new programs and then get your SMART scholarship, and then you can go wherever you want from there. So I'm really happy where I am, and I'm really proud that I can say that I started here and I can end up, like I have a solid idea of where I'm going to end up. Will I be a professional civil engineering group person? No, I don't think I will. I'm currently in 78th Civil Engineering Group as a mechanical engineering intern. I don't think that's where I will end, but I think that's a great step to get to the next step to where I want to be later. And it also is a great place for a lot of resources. So definitely trying to get yourself in front of as many resources as possible is what I've noticed.
Thank you, Julia. So if we get all the panelists, if we can make them visible here, that's awesome. And Julia, thank you for your talk as well. These are fantastic introductions. I don't even have to set you all up. You all highlight those strong points. I think that something that has come up again and again in our series this summer has been about networking, about being your authentic self, and kind of like the connections will emerge, and that no one really has a straight path. It's, as Anna said, I didn't think I would go to college. Then I did this and met my mentor, and she told me to apply to college. So I went, and hey, it was free. I didn't have to pay. And I could have been so intimidated about cost, but there are ways and there are different pathways. And everybody who's in the audience, your pathway will not be the same as our speakers, but your pathway is yours. It's your own, it's your story, and you can get there. So I'm going to open things up to our audience. We already have some questions coming in, so I'm just going to take the opportunity to voice them. We do have the unique opportunity. I don't know if people have camera functions, but we can do that today if you guys want, but I'm also happy to voice for you. And remember, if you ask a question, you get an amazing prize sent to you in the mail, and these are metal, man. These are and our speakers get them too. You get a handwritten thank you note and a pocket scientist sent to you in the mail. All right, so let's make this fun. If we're going to be here in webinar series, let's make this fun. Let's get something out of it. Get what you need out of it. So this is a question from Janet. She says, how did you all keep persevering when you felt out of place? And do you have any advice for beginners on how to deal with imposter syndrome?
I can start. So I definitely deal with imposter syndrome a lot. And I think that the way to deal with it kind of goes along with being your authentic self. Tell people how you feel. And I know that sounds really, really scary, but every mentor I've had, our relationships strengthened because I was like, I feel insecure. I don't feel like I'm doing well. And they're like, what? Like, you're doing very well. Or they're like, here's a way for you to prove. Like, I don't think there's ever a negative in telling people around you, whether that's mentors or even peers, because if you open up to your peers and say, like, I'm feeling insecure, and then they're like, I am too, both of you now have someone to lean on. I think that, like, no man is an island, and you're not going to get through a STEM career alone. And it's just about expressing it. And then people will reach out to help you, and then you'll have the strength to reach out and help them in the future. I think that's the way.
Yeah, I guess like to go off of that too, like thank you so much, Anastasia. Like I fully relate. Like I feel like I try to be as much of an open person as I possibly can. And I feel like it just creates space for others to also voice like how they're feeling, like you were saying, like you're not going to be alone because everyone around you is also feeling that in some capacity. And I think too, like not only just like voicing how you feel on a daily basis and just being like, hey, like, I need to take some time to like think about XYZ, but also just like, I think sometimes I like take time to reflect and like look at like how much I've done and like how much it's taken for me to like get to this point. And like speaking on perseverance, like I almost failed out of undergrad in my first year. And at that point, I thought, okay, you know what? Like maybe going so far away from home wasn't for me. Maybe studying engineering wasn't for me. But it was the mentors in my corner being like, hey, Katie, you know what? This is just a season. You can keep going. And I kept going and I still got those engineering degrees. I flat out failed my circuits class and I'm still an electrical engineer. And it's not just about taking that one step of failure and yes, failure can be redirection, but it can also be a way to pause, reflect, and think about, okay, what can I do moving forward? And what do I actually want in life, right? Or in that moment, in that season of life. Yeah.
Anything from you, Julia? Imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't fit?
I mean, I guess I see a lot of people around me that also support me. Definitely being honest and being talking to people, basically what everyone else has already said, but also surrounding yourself, trying to find people who do have similarities with you, even if it's just similar interests. I found some people within my office who really like crocheting and really like doing have similar hobbies as me. So even if we're not talking about work, we can talk about other things that we enjoy, and that can help you find a community so that people can be like, oh yeah, all right, I know you. And so they help encourage you, or they help you. I brought donuts to the office to try to get everybody on my side, small things like that.
I think, Julia, you've mentioned two important things. One is food. Food brings people together, whether it's food or service. Do something nice. Acts of kindness just make people smile. Just smile. I smile, and that changes everything in meetings. Just even if I'm having a bad day, I smile at people and it works out. But donuts go really far. The other thing is find your people. Whatever kind of group your people are, if it's your faith community, if it's some kind of identity group that you're part of, if you want to live in an engineering house, you want to join a fraternity or sorority, something like that, find your people. Maybe it's your family. Find your people, build your community among your people. And sometimes that is even better if it's not just STEM people, because you are a whole person. And it's important to remember that, because that balance can sometimes keep you going and help you build that perseverance. So I am going to now go to another question. This question was especially for Julia. So Julia, because the SMART Scholarship requires you to work at the DoD after you complete school, do you plan to continue at the DoD, or do you plan to go to another field of science or someplace else?
So I saw this question and I read it. So I've been thinking about it just a little bit. And I think the answer is I'll get to it when I get to it, because I applied to the SMART Scholarship during my first year and I got it starting my second year. And so for most people, that's okay, so you have 2 years left, right? No, I have 3, because I'm in a 5-year program. And so I start my full-time sort of time period in 2026, and I don't finish my service period until 2030. And a lot can happen in 8 years, 7 years. A lot can happen in that time period. So at this moment, I am comfortable where I am, but I also have 3 full years left of my degree program that can go any direction. I could find an interest and I'm like, this one right here, I want this. And so I'm keeping my options open for what I really want to focus on. I think the place where I am right now, the level I'm at, it's a great way to sample platter a whole lot of stuff. And so that's how I'm taking it. But I know a whole lot of people who know what they want, or they know that they want to focus and expand their knowledge in this bubble or in this sphere. I'll take some from here, and I'll take some from here. I like buffets. I like to be able to try a little bit of everything. That's why I really like that webinar series. So I have a feeling that I might stay with the DoD. I might stay doing sort of military stuff, but I don't know if it'll be in the same subject. I don't know if I will stay sort of in the same niche, if I go to another civil engineering group after that, or if I go, I don't know, to go break the buildings instead of build them. I don't know. But it's worth thinking about and keeping in the back of your head.
Thanks, Julia. I wanted to ask one, you guys, your talk made me think about this one. What is the piece of advice that you, if you could, you would give to yourself when you were 16, or when you were starting college, or when you were failing your freshman year? What is that piece of advice you'd give yourself?
I would say like give yourself some grace. I think like there's so much work that goes into just studying, being a full-time student, and like also maybe even balancing other jobs on the side, and also just taking time to find yourself as you grow and change. And like Julia, you've mentioned this many times where it's like, yeah, things can change. Like I like one thing right now, but my interest can totally expand and like just be redirected. Like science in and of itself is nonlinear. Your path in science doesn't have to be linear. Like science is also just super interdisciplinary, and you can like take what you work with and like what you study and apply it to many things. And so with that, for me, that kind of came into me just feeling very lost, as in like I need to have something that like is my anchor. Like what is that? And like I didn't realize that could just be something very general, being like, I like physics. Okay, what can I do with that? How can I bridge physics and engineering into the work that I do? But moral of the story is give yourself some grace, take it day by day. And it's really easy, at least for me, to be very hard on myself. And so taking that time to be like, hey, you're doing the best that you possibly can right now, and that's okay.
Yeah, my like building off that, I have this on a sticky note on my mirror because my friends say it to me all the time, and it's forgive yourself as you forgive others. Like I think people say the golden rule is like treat others the way you'd want to be treated, but sometimes you need to treat yourself the way you treat others. Like there are so many times where I'm being so harsh on myself for missing a deadline or not doing well on an exam. And I think about the people that I've mentored, or like when I'm a professor and I'll have students, I would never treat them that way, or I would never want them to feel that way, right? And so like sometimes you need to give yourself the grace you give others, right? Like I think that's a really important thing. And as for my additional piece of advice that I wish I had given, I gave this to my friend the other day, and she said it was the best advice she had ever gotten, and like she has the sticky note of it now. It's every good choice I've ever made was terrifying. I think, yeah, so she just moved to London, and it was like after we had talked, she got a really crazy job offer and she was terrified. And I was like, well, every good choice I ever made terrified me. I think that risk can be really scary, but don't let that fear scare you off from actually taking them.
Those are
There's some like
cool.
truth bombs here, man. Truth bombs. You got one, Julia?
Man, I need to stop going last.
I know. I know.
I think I sort of touched on this, but sort of, and I've also been told this a whole lot by everybody who's like trying to get me to do stuff. It's like, put yourself out there, be a self-advocate. Like everyone's already heard that. It's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And sometimes I have to tell that to myself. Sometimes I tell it to my friends, and I'm like, every good choice you've ever made is terrifying. Everything seems like it's going to be scary until like, oh, it pays off. It pays off. That's a good thing. And just like giving yourself a break, understanding that it is scary and that's okay, but also pushing yourself after you've acknowledged that it's scary. It's like jumping off on a diving board into a pool of water. It's like, I know that there's a pool of water down there. It might hurt a little bit if I belly flop. It'll hurt a lot. Belly flops really hurt. But at the end of the day, I will be able to swim back up to the top, take a deep breath, and figure out what to do next. And if I can't do that by myself, somebody will probably help, because I surround myself with people who will help me if I'm doggy paddling in the deep end, not being able to figure out what I'm doing. So,
Katie, aren't you proud of Julia? Hasn't she just like from the person in the meeting to now? And so that's what I think about everybody else here right now who's watching, that they're going to be like our Julia or our Katie or Anna who will come forward. And the thing that I'm going to share with everybody as the wise sage in the room, that I didn't realize, and it took me way too long to realize, is that my value is far more than my accomplishments. So as someone who had that perfect GPA and was the achiever and who can solve the problem, that's not my value. That's just what I can do. So find your value and recognize that it's so much more than your grades, than your awards, than all of these things. So enough on that one. There's another question here from Appy. She says, what specifically inspires you to wake up every day and go to work in STEM? So why do you STEM?
Yes, for me right now, what inspires me to wake up in the morning is
donuts.
I gotta go to work. I gotta go to class. I know this semester I've signed myself up for 8 a.m.s 4 days of the week. My body is technically a morning person, but my brain, my soul wants to stay up till 3 in the morning. So we're still battling that battle. But I also have a friend, and she's gonna be my roommate. She signed up for all 4 of those 8 a.m.s as well. So we're gonna go to class. But for me, the reason why I wake up, the reason why I like go and do STEM is because if I can go to bed that night and say, you know that problem, you know that email, I did that, I sent that, I did it, I give myself a little gold star on the inside. It's like I have a big book of golden stars on the inside of my brain. Every time I get to add a new gold star, I go, yes, 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 yes. Sometimes it's a really small gold star. It's like I got the right answer to 1 out of 30 problems. Sometimes it's a big gold star, or it's like I finished the statement of work for the 4th time. So it's just, sometimes they're small victories, sometimes they're big victories, but that's why I like STEM, because I get a little victory.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No,
For me, I definitely feel like college, I was the exact same way as Julia. And now my life is a lot less structured because I'm in like near the end of my PhD and I don't take classes. I just do research and I code, so I can kind of do it wherever. So it's not, there's less of that like gold star effect as you start to do graduate research, because it's kind of this, it just kind of, it's like an amorphous blob. And the thing that motivates me now is that I get to work on really cool stuff. Like I work on it because I think it's cool. Like like I get excited. I run simulations, and when a new simulation finishes and I get the little email, I'm like, oh my God, like let's look at this data. And when I get, yeah, it's like when I get to see, and I think that's why I got really lucky in my PhD. I just love the research. And it's why I want to go into academia, because that's what motivates me now. It's just like, wow, like I can't believe I get to work on cool problems and I get to work on whatever I want. Like my advisors kind of have given me the freedom to go down the little rabbit holes I think are cool and hopefully like figure out something new. And I love that. And I think that's like very rare in any career. And so if you're that kind of person who's like into that, I do think graduate school is a great option. Like you get a lot more scientific freedom, and it feels like art to me. I don't know, like I'm not an artist, but it is like the creative freedom of art. And I find that very motivating.
Yeah, I think like in that same vein too. So I just finished undergrad, and I just also finished my first year working as a full-time like research assistant. And it's been a really crazy transition. So now you're seeing everyone in all different stages of their careers right now on this panel. And like it's odd not having full structure of like being in classes all the time and like maybe doing some research outside of class or some extracurriculars, or building your schedule around that. I am like in this weird crossroads where I'm like kind of doing a bit of both. Like I'm taking a little bit of coursework. I'm also just doing a lot of research. And like I think what motivates me to go into lab and just have fun and do all my work is same thing as Anastasia, like that feeling of discovering, or just like I'm an engineer, so I just create things. I can go into a clean room and like literally carve some diamond into some really crazy structures and like play with light and shine lasers at some diamonds. Like that's so cool. And like control like what's happening with the electrons in these systems, and like understanding that and mapping that out to like the physics that we can just do pen and paper. I think that's insane. You can go from theory to experiment and then just like see things happen in real life, like unfold before you. And I think even more so is the fact that I have a really supportive environment here where like I lean on all of my lab mates, and I think we all like help each other through everything and anything. Like we're friends but also coworkers, and like I think having that like good balance between like having someone that like I can talk to about like imposter syndrome, and just like feeling like, hey, like I don't think I can do this experiment today, like because I'm not feeling it right now. And then also just be like, okay, like teach me everything you know about quantum physics, like I don't know anything, teach me everything. Like that's been really awesome. And I think community has been a big part of it, finding your people and like taking time to have balance also outside of work too, where like I do love everything that I do in lab, but I also love going kayaking on like a random Saturday morning. So just like having fun. But yeah.
I miss the Charles so bad. The Schuylkill in Philadelphia is not the same, guys. The Charles River in Boston, I used to sail all the time. It's all right though.
That's awesome. So I know we are at the end of our time here. Someone asked how you became a speaker in STEM, and mostly it's because I asked. So we do send out. So if you follow us on social media, you'll see requests for speakers in the future. So we would love to host our current apprentices on an alumni panel in the future. And if you reach out and say, you know, we would really just like to have a social group for like alumni or people at all different phases to come together and just build a community, I would love to create that for our team. So if anybody in our apprentice community asks for that, I can make that happen, but people have to show up. So I just wanted to see if, as we close, I wanted to say how much I value the time that you've brought to share with us today and everybody's perseverance through our technical challenges, and that shout out again to Heather for navigating them and taking over my phone. But I wanted to see if you have any last pieces of advice for how our participants can make the most out of their AEOP experience.
I think get to know the other people in your program at your site. I have so many friends like all over the world now that I've kind of just stayed in contact with from internships, summer projects, things like that. And it's nice. It's nice to like have these friends that might not be like your best friends, but you went through something with them. So stay in touch, and stay in touch with your mentor, even if it's just to be like, hey, I got into college, or hey, I got into undergrad, or like, I saw this crazy cloud the other day. Like every once in a while, just email them, say hello. Mentors love to see their mentees succeed. And it'll probably, if you're in their head, if they get an opportunity in their lap, you'll probably be the person they think of, which is always a nice thing.
I think, yeah, agreeing, like just really lean on mentors. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for all my mentors who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. Just leave it at that.
What? And Julia, anything from you?
Oh,
Last.
I am last again. I guess, yeah, combining what the other two said, is really find the community that you can find within like an even larger community. Put yourself into positions that will help you with that if you can. Sort of just like find people, even if they're your peers, mentors, people that you're mentoring. There's never a connection that can't get you something, even if that something's like a sandwich. That's still one sandwich you wouldn't have had. So sort of, that doesn't necessarily mean like get to know every single person, shake their hands, stare at them in the face, but like smile, be a cordial person to everyone. Don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. You never know what could happen. You could change your mind, turn around. Make sure you leave a not bad taste in people's mouths. Don't have to be their favorite thing ever. Just don't be their least favorite. But yeah.
Julia, that's the perfect way to end our webinar series for the summer. Do not leave a bad taste in other people's mouths. But seriously, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank all of our apprentices and fellows who are watching live and will watch this video recording later. Thank you for choosing to spend your summer with the AEOP. And my advice to you would just be to be awesome is to just keep being yourself, pursue your dreams, go all in, find your people, and be yourself. All right, we're here. If you need anything, you can always reach out to the RIT team at AEOP Apprenticeships at rit.edu. And don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to be a speaker in the future, or if you're looking for additional opportunities. We're here to assist you, and you're going to get more emails about JSHS, the SMART program. We'll send out the prizes as well as the flyer that I created and shared today. And we hope to hear from all of you soon, and follow us on social media. Thanks for being here, Katie, Anna, and Julia. It was quite a pleasure to end this series with you today. Goodbye, everybody.